Hey everyone, in this video, I want to talk to you about something huge, something really important, and this is how to relieve or help you with test anxiety. So, in this video, we'll talk about several things. One, what it is, how'd you get it maybe, where does it come from, how to identify test anxiety, how to maybe reprogram your brain and help you like calm some of these feelings of anxiety, and then some tips that will help you, hopefully, things that you can do on a test as well during the class period. So let's get right to it. So this is a big topic, okay? I really want to talk about test anxiety because a lot of people, whether you know it or not or admit it or not, suffer from testing anxiety, especially with math. This topic brings people anxiety as it is, right? There's a lot of pressure, a lot of stress that comes in over the years, and you start associating, your shame, your worth, you to the result of how you're doing in math class. And a lot of people shut down, and this is something that generational, that people pass down from family to family, right? Your parents tell you something like, I was never good at math, so you can figure it out, I can't help you there. And that alone starts to introduce a certain level of stress that, hey, this is hard and I cannot get this, right? So what is anxiety? Okay, so one, before I start about any of this anxiety stuff, I want a huge disclaimer. I am not a therapist. I am not a licensed anything, right? I'm a math teacher, right? And I've been studying math. I've been studying people, and I've been studying some psychologists and some things that they help you as tips of how to help with stuff. So I'm going to share some things that I have learned. By all means, I am not a doctor, and I'm not certified to do any of this stuff. So hopefully what I'm about to share with you helps, but does not replace you going to see someone if you're really struggling with this, okay? So let's get to it. Anxiety is a lot of people think anxiety is a mental state, right? But more importantly, it's a physical state. It's a state in which your body feels, and usually the way that you can start recognizing feelings of anxiety is maybe you start getting shortness of breath, you can't take deep breaths, right? Maybe you have tightness in your chest, you have a racing heart, you get sweaty palms, you start moving a lot, right? You start fidgeting, you start shaking, maybe you're tapping your foot a lot. Your body can tighten, right? And you start feeling a lot of tension around here on your neck, around your traps. You can start feeling tension here. What we call this nerve right here is the SCM nerve, right? So there's a lot happening in your body as a result of anxiety. And we think that the anxiety comes from our thoughts, and maybe it stems from there, right? But our body is in a physical state, and if you stay in that state, there's no way you're gonna be able to perform better or do better when you're feeling this tension of anxiety, right? So our goal is to sort of relax and change our physical state, and by changing our physical state, as Tony Robbins says, you can change your mental state as well, okay? So over the years of repeated stress, you start getting trauma and anxiety start storing in your body, right? So you start feeling fear when you start shutting down when you get into like a math test because of the history of what happened. Maybe you can't pinpoint to when it started, right? Anxiety for you, or testing anxiety for you, but over the years, you sort of condition your body to feel fear, right? And shut down when you start getting into test mode. Maybe it's not in daily assignments and then you just shut down on test mode. Maybe you shut down in general. It's not testing anxiety, maybe it's just math anxiety or school anxiety. You're like, I can't do school because my body just does not react well to it, right? And that's just because we've been conditioned to it, conditioned to feel and behave a certain way when we experience certain subjects. And more importantly, right, math. When you experience math, people don't like it. So first of all, you want to be able to identify, hey, do I experience that? Do I get nervous? Do I get right? Do I fidget a lot? Do I move a lot when I'm taking a test, or when I'm going to take a test, or when I'm doing just a regular assignment? Like, do I feel tension in my body, right? So pay attention to your breathing, pay attention to your body, and see if you're relaxed, or are you more nervous and more tense when you're doing it, okay? Once you identify it, there are three things that you can do, okay? I'm going to show you 3 different exercises you can do to sort of help release some of that tension. And then I'll tell you, once you get into some of the exercises, we'll talk about how to deal with actual anxiety in a test or a homework assignment, or how to think about things, okay? And as you think about it, lost my train of thought there for a second. So we'll talk about Schoology and how to put that to use. But first, let's talk about the 3 things that you can do with your body, okay? First, our goal is to reprogram our brain from anxiety. And we do that, right? We have this thing called the vagus nerve, which is the longest, one of the longest nerves that extends down through your spine, from your neck, spine, down to your torso, down to your upper body. And that tension in the nerves, that stress happens, right, as a physical stress. So we want to be able to do 3 different things. The first exercise, and we're going to add to the exercise, right? They're all dealing with the tension here in your neck. The first one is you're going to grab with your right hand, right? Our goal is to pull your head or your ears towards the shoulder level, and you want to look in the opposite direction. Now you might want to start with 30-second exercises, and you're going to pull it here, and you're just going to release some of this tension that you're locking up, right? You go for about 30 seconds, relax, you do the exact opposite side, you pull this way, and you want to look in the opposite direction. This is the most basic one. You can do this before a test. You can do this on your way to school in a bus or in your car. Ideally not if you're driving, right? But you can do this kind of exercise. The next thing you do is very similar, as we're gonna add an extra piece so we can add to the extension, okay? So we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna pull over, but now we're gonna add our hands here, right? So you can see it. You're gonna grab your torso and you're gonna squeeze it in to give you an additional curve, an additional stretch, okay? So we're gonna start by pulling this over, all right? Grab your torso here and pull yourself inward, right? Adding curvature gives you now we're going further down with this vagus nerve, right? The cranial nerve goes all the way down to your rib cage. So we're trying to add mobility to your rib cage and your torso, giving you more releasing tension all throughout. And we do that on the left, we look opposite side, right? Just as before, you can do 30 seconds. Do the opposite side as well. You pull to the right, ears pointing down to your shoulder. You grab your torso or rib cage and you pull it in, right? Don't be too aggressive with it. Just do what feels natural. Look in the opposite direction. About 30 seconds, right? And now you're releasing that tension from the head down to your torso where things are getting trapped and relaxed. If you are timing this, right, and you're pausing and you're trying this actual exercise, you can start to feel a little bit more relaxed in your breathing, a little bit more connected to yourself. The last exercise, you're gonna be flat. You can't do this one in the room, but you can be flat on the ground where you're facing the ground and you're like this, right? So you're flat on the ground, you're gonna put your forearms on the floor and you're gonna lift only your upper body where your shoulders are being supported by your forearms, by your elbow, right? So you're in this form, your feet, your legs, everything's touching the ground and you're just lifting yourself upward, right? Kind of like an upward dog, not really, just upper body pushing it up. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna look to the left. Now what this is gonna help, right? It's right here, we see the longest nerve that we see here in the neck, right? This is called the SCM muscle, right? And we're trying to reset it, and it helps you by doing that, by pushing it back, by stretching it. And we're gonna do the left side, and then the right side. And by stretching it, now you're allowing to relax your body completely, right? And now you're able to sort of reprogram your mind and reset your nervous system a little bit so that you're now more receptive to the learning and to the test that you're doing, right? Some people perform really well in assignments, but they don't do so well on a test because they're all tightened and stressed and they can't think and they start blanking out and they start doing those kinds of things. So hopefully those 3 exercises help. Again, by all means, do not replace what you're doing, right? This is just to aid you a little bit with your exercises. And I got this online. I can tag the actual video down below, or I can share more resources with you from other therapists and people that do this for a living. As far as the assignments and things in class and how to approach them, this is the reason why I add 5 to 10 assignments, possibilities in Schoology, right? When you're doing Schoology, I don't give you one shot. I give you 5 to 10 opportunities so that you feel automatically, hey, you know what? there's not a lot of pressure for me to do well right now. I have 10 chances. A lot of people are so focused on the grade representing their ability and their intellect. Like, oh, I gotta get 100 the first time, or I gotta get an A, or I gotta pass, or you feel so much pressure already before even starting the assignment. So I'm giving you 5 to 10 opportunities to redo an assignment so that you can at least remove some of that pressure. Say, you know what? I don't have to get it right the first time. I can just go ahead and try this, see how I do, get some help, and try it again, right? Removing some of that initial pressure hopefully helps you relax and approach the assignment with a little bit more calmness, okay? Same thing with your tests. When you're looking at tests, nothing is definitive, right? We always have retakes, we have corrections, we have a lot of opportunities for you to increase your score. Don't focus on that part of like, I gotta get this right. Because if you start something with that mindset, you're already tense, right? You already feel like you feel stress about what you needed to do and how you need to perform. A lot of people are worried about GPAs and averages, and yes, it's important, but don't worry about your grade at the beginning, right? You have 9 weeks in a grading period. Your GPA does not count till the end of the semester, right? So start. If you're failing assignments, you have multiple opportunities. If you fail a test, you have multiple opportunities. The goal here is to understand the material and progress as you're learning through stuff, right? You don't have to get it right the first time. Your transcript will say the grade at the end, not the how many times you took the test or how many times you did the assignment. So remove some of that pressure from yourself, from having the perfect GPA or having the perfect average. Nothing has to be the way that you think it needs to be, okay? Now, there's a ton of other things that can help, right? Outside of your mindset, outside of your neck muscles, your nerves, right? Is, you know, when you're doing math, can you, I have a few creams here. I have stress relief. I don't know if you can see it. This is for aromatherapy. Eucalyptus and spearmint. And then I have another one over here as well. That's eucalyptus and spearmint, right? And I like to just, I like to put it on my hands, right? When I'm feeling tension, right? As I move it around, it soothes my hands. Smells great, and it just overall relaxes me. And when I'm in a relaxed state, I'm in a better learning state. I'm in a better state to be receptive and be able to learn, right? And able to take in the notes whenever we're doing notes in class, or just try things with a more clear mind as we're doing things in class for your assignments and your tests. Some people like candles. You can put candles at home if you're doing assignments in your house, in your bedroom. You can put candles. There is oils. There's essential oils. You can do creams. You can do all kinds of stuff to help you with that stress and being tightness of stuff. In the end, none of this really matters. Okay, nothing is more important than your physical and your mental well-being. So if you're feeling test anxiety, if you're feeling tension, if you're feeling stress, if you're feeling a lot of pressure, you can come talk to me. Okay, because you're most likely adding more pressure than you need to, right? And if you can change your physical state, you can change your mental state, and then you're going to be able to be more receptive to the learning and the things that we want to cover in class. And then who knows, maybe at that point you can truly measure what you know and what you don't know, because your grade is going to be a reflection of what you know versus of how much pressure you're adding to yourself. All right? Well, I hope this has helped. If you haven't subscribed, let's do it. Click the like button, subscribe, and as always, we'll talk to you later.